Good morning, everybody. I decided to jump on and show a cute card this morning. I'm just making sure I'm live here. If you're watching, comment and let me know you're watching. There we go. I can see it now. If you're watching the replay later, then just type replay below, just so I know that you had a chance to take a look. So I actually just sent out an email this morning about my March stamp club, which is my monthly club. And usually every month we make 8 cards. We make 4 designs, 2 of each card. But this month I did it different because I wanted to showcase this collection that's called Easter Basket. Easter Joy is the collection. And so I'll quickly just show you, move the card out of the way. It features this stamp set, which is Easter Basket. And then it has some coordinating dies that go with it. And it has this absolutely gorgeous paper. It is part of our designer paper series, but it is part of our specialty paper, which is a little different from our regular paper. And even though we're not using it on the card today, I'm still going to just kind of showcase it. Sorry about the halo, which it's hard to see. I'm trying to get away from that halo, but there's like a little shine to this, and it's really thick. It's super thick designer paper. So I'm just going to show a few of the sheets. We use all of this designer paper in the March Stamp Club. And see, it's just, you can see that there's a little shine to it, a little gold coming out. And we've got these cute bunnies. And some Easter eggs. And that might be all of the sheets. Oh, there's one other sheet. It's one of those sheets that on one side it's just a pattern, but on the other side it actually cuts out these 4x6. And why am I struggling with math right now? Maybe because it's still early and I really didn't sleep well. But there's a bunch of different patterns that it cuts out. So there's 6 of them. I'm just doing the math. So there's 6 different patterns. And in the class, we're using a couple of them to make the cards. So I just wanted to show you because this designer paper is absolutely beautiful. And we're not using it today because today's card is going to just use the stamp and the dies. So I'm going to set the stamp set aside. And I'm going to set the dies aside. We're going to come back to those in a little bit. And I'm going to try to put this in the corner here so that you can see what we are working on. Now, this card was inspired by somebody named Stacia Bloodheart. I believe that's how you say her name. I saw it on Pinterest, and after playing with this and making the cards and the 3D projects that I have already made with the set, I just knew I had to recreate this because it's just absolutely stunning. So what we'll do is I'm going to start with the stamping part. I'm going to get out some white cardstock and my foam mat, and I have black Memento ink, which is this one, and I have taken an ink refill and I've created a larger ink pad using our uninked white ink pad, just because I just like how it's just, to me, it's easier, I think, to stamp with. So I'm going to just set the card out of the way for a minute. And so I'm going to use both of the bunny stamps that are included in the set. We're going to ink that up. These bunnies are so cute, and I love that there's dies that go with it. And then there's this floral stamp, has 3 flowers on it. And we need 2 of those. And then there's this cute little chick. We're gonna need 1 of him. And I'm gonna put the ink away for a moment until we need it later. Okay. Then we're gonna get out our blends. I'm gonna move the foam mat out. And we're gonna use our blends to do some coloring. And I'm not using a whole lot of them today. I'm just going to use, bring these into the picture maybe. Here we go. I'm using Lemon Lolly, Soft Seafoam, and Pretty in Pink. Pretty in Pink is one of our 2024 to 2026 in colors that will be retiring in April next month. So if you don't already have it, or if you need to stock up on it, now's the time to do that, because once they announce that it's retiring, those products go really fast. So we're going to start with the Pretty in Pink Dark, and I'm using the fine point end, and I want to just color the inside of my flowers. And then I'm also going to color the ears of the bunnies. And the noses. And the nose of the little chick. I love how soft and pastel this whole card and collection is. Then we're going to use dark Lemon Lolly, and again I'm going to use that pointed end, and I'm just going to come in. You know, I usually use the brush end, but that's when I'm coloring bigger spaces. This smaller space, by using the fine point end, it just gives me a little more control. I have found that when you use the fine point end, you also get a little darker of the color than if you're using the brush end without having to go over it more than one time. So if you want it to be a little lighter with the yellow, then you could also just, you could use the lighter color. I'm using the dark of the Lemon Lolly, but you could use the light. You could also use the brush end if you want to be really careful about coloring in the lines. You know me, I prefer speed over precision. And then our little chick, we're going to just color him as well. Just filling him in with the dark. And I am going to get out the light color and the brush end to come in and kind of finish him off, because he's just got a little bit more surface space, so I just want to finish him off. And the last thing to color are the leaves. We're using dark Soft Seafoam Green, and we're using the fine point end again, because these are just little spaces. So it would be hard to use the brush end for these tiny little spaces that you're coloring. All right, so now we've finished all of our coloring. I'm actually going to move the blends out of the way, because now we're going to do some die cutting. We're going to cut out these images, but first I just want to make my paper a little smaller. And I'm going to attempt to bring my die cut over here and see if it fits in the camera. I'm not sure if it will. No, it's too big. Okay, it's too close up. Hold on one second. I'm gonna get my smaller one. We have 2 different sizes of our die cut machines, and 80% of the time I use the larger one. But for the sake of kind of showing you how this is done, I'm gonna try to even lift this up while I do this. Let me see. Can you see what I'm doing? I think so. All right. And then, because I'm going to use the smaller one, I'm going to actually cut this paper down a little bit more, because you don't want the paper to be any wider than the plates, like than where it's going through here. And so let me just move this out of the way for 1 second so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to get out the dies for the bunnies and for the little chick and for the flowers. And I'm going to use some washi tape to hold the dies in place as it goes through the machine, just so it doesn't move on you. It's hard to do. I'm standing up trying to look down on this so that I can see what I'm doing. These little bunnies are so cute. This whole set, honestly, wait till you see the basket. I haven't even got to the basket yet. The basket is adorable. Got the chick, and we got the flowers. All right, so now I'm going to bring the machine back into the camera and show you that we're going to put our platform in first, and then we're going to sandwich our bunnies between these two clear plates. And we're going to just start to run that through. You hold the handle with one hand and crank the other handle with the other hand. And there are your cute bunnies. They're so cute. All right, and then we're gonna run the flowers and the chick through. And you can go in both directions with this machine. So we're gonna just bring it back the other direction. You can use this right-handed or left-handed as well, which is really nice. So we've got one flower. We've got our little chick. And then we need to do one more flower here. I'm gonna sandwich that. When you're cutting with dies, you're always using a sandwich. And then I didn't do a great job, but it'll work for this. It's hard to do when you're not in your normal position that you're in when you're crafting at your table. What I love about our machines is that when you're done with them, they fold up for storage, and they're super, super light. So I'm gonna just move this out of the way. And I'm gonna bring in some of the other supplies. I have done a little bit of prepping ahead. Cut out a bow, and I've cut out some grass and a little border that goes on the basket. And because I'm not stamping and tracing these, I don't need to use washi tape on these. All I need to do is just put them on the machine. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. When I finish the machine, I'll go a little bit closer to the table again. So we're just gonna run that through. And if your cardstock sometimes sticks in your dies, you just use your take your pick tool. Just poke through one of the holes, and then it comes right out. That's part of our basket. Our grass. I'm just gonna poke that out. And I have one more thing to run through the machine, which is our basket. So we have this really cool basket die. And I have a piece of white cardstock here that I'm gonna just put this in the machine. One of my projects for my March class, we're using this basket die but we're making a 3D basket out of it that you could easily put like a small candy bar or tuck a little money in there. It's a really cute little project. I might do a video later to show all of the projects that we are going to make for that class. So now I'm going to go ahead and just move this out of the way because I think I'm done with it this time. And I'm going to, now I will say this basket's big enough. If you just tap it, you don't even need your tool. And there's the basket. And there's one other, I've already cut it out, but there is this die here. And what this does is it cuts a bunch of little strips of paper to do basket weaving. And so we're gonna work on the basket weaving next. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back down. Sorry if that made you a little dizzy, because we're gonna work on the basket first. And honestly, until you do this a couple times, you might get a little frustrated with the basket. But once you figure it out, it's actually not that hard to do. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this card back into view if I can, so you can kind of see what we're going for. So we're gonna start on the bottom. And what I like to do, all of these little lines are actually slits. So I kind of like to just kind of open them up a little bit so that the paper's not as stiff, because we're literally going to do some basket weaving here. So for this bottom one, for the first one, I'm going to come in from below, and here, you know, you can just do it right in the middle. And you're just speeding it through, in and out. And then once you get it through, just slide it down. The next color we're going to use is Pretty in Pink. And for this one, I'm actually going to turn it over so that I can do the opposite. So then it's going to come this way. And when I said you might get frustrated with this, the first couple that you put through are actually not that hard to put through. So you might be thinking, this doesn't look that hard, but I'll show you a trick when we get a couple more pieces in there. Next, we're gonna do Seafoam Green. And I still like to flip it over. We're doing the opposite of what's in front of it, like what's below it. So we're gonna start, it's gonna look like the yellow piece. You just can't be afraid to work with it. Bend the basket a little bit. All right. And we'll slide that down so you can kind of see where we're at here on the front. Kind of keep sliding it down until you get it in place. All right, so now we need another of the Lemon Lolly. We'll turn it back over. We're doing the opposite of the green. And this is where it will start to get a little more challenging because it just gets tight. I mean, imagine if you're basket weaving, your basket actually starts to get stronger the more you add to it. And that's kind of what's happening here. This one is still fairly easy to get through. Hoping I'm still in view here, and I keep moving it around and I'm not sure if it's staying in the camera. And then just have to tuck it through that last spot. All right, and we're going to slide that down in place. And you can do actually just 3 if you want, or this time we're doing 5. So the last one is the pink, and here's where I'm going to show you what I have learned to be the trick. Is I'm going to still start just like I always do, and it's going the opposite of what's in front of it, what's below it. But what I find is that it gets a little more challenging to get this last piece in because it's just really tight. What's really nice is you don't need adhesive for this part because it's not going anywhere. So you can see it's a little bit harder for me to get it through. So I'm going to show you the trick now. We're going to put this last one through here. Oops, didn't get it. Hold on. There we go. And then I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to come in and cut off the end. And I'm going to work from the other side. And so, again, we want it to be the opposite of what is there. So it comes in this way. And then it's just easier because you're working with a little shorter piece. You're not trying to go all the way across. And when I get to this last piece, I just kind of flip it back and forth. Now I have made a basket. I think one of the cards that we're going to make for the class only does 3 of the weaving. And 3 is definitely a little easier than 5, but it's the same idea. And it always is harder when you're on camera trying to do it and make it look like it's not a big deal. Like I just made the other one this morning and no problems. And this one's just not cooperating. Here we go. Just had to get it through that little, like I said, it gets very tight because it gets stronger as you go, just like it would if you were doing real basket weaving. There we go. And we've got it. So that is the trick for getting that in there. And then we're going to just take our scissors. On the back side, you can cut these down quite a bit. They don't have to go to the edge. On the front side, you just want to kind of cut those so that they line up with the edge of your basket. And there we go. How cute is that basket? Well, it's just going to get cuter here in a minute. I am going to get out my silicone mat because we're going to do some gluing, and sometimes when you're working with some intricate pieces it can get a little bit messy, and this just keeps it from being too messy. So we're going to I'm actually going to put some glue on the top of the basket here. We're just putting like a thin line across and then adhere your fringe to your basket. I mean, how cute. It's really funny. This set has been out since January, and I just bought it recently because I just thought it would be fun to work with. Wasn't really sure if I was going to love it, and I absolutely love it. Then we're going to add, let me bring this into the picture so you can see what we're going for. We're going to add some flowers. And so, well, we're going to add the bunny first. So we're going to add this bunny first. And basically, I just kind of want to figure out where I want him to go. And once I figure out where he goes, I'm going to set it down. I'm going to just lift the basket and add a tiny drop of glue and hold him in place, just like that. That just helps me get started. Now, to add the flowers, we're going to add a tiny drop of glue to the bottom. Lift your basket up and just kind of figure out where do you want them. And hold it in place. We'll do the same thing with the other flowers. Add a little drop of glue. That was a big drop of glue. Set it down. Move your basket into place. So now we've got it partially put together here. We're going to take our other bunny, and he's kind of going on the edge here. So because of that, we're just going to add a little bit of glue to the side of him that goes on the basket. And then add tab to the front of the basket. We're going to come in with our little fringe of grass that we cut out of soft seafoam. Just add a little bit of glue across the bottom. That just goes across the bottom. Then we have our little chickie. Add some glue to the back of him. Tuck him in under the grass. And we cut out that bow out of the lemon lolly. We're going to just add a little bit of glue. That was a lot of glue. Way more glue than I needed. That's okay. And put that in place. So now we have our basket put together. I'm going to just set that aside, let it just dry for a second. It's basically dry anyway. So for the card base, we're using a piece of white thick cardstock. It's just half a sheet that we've scored in half. Oops, use our bone folder, give it a good crease. And for our mat, I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 that I ran through the embossing machine, and I used the Forever Plaid embossing folder. And when you do, this is what you get. I can't do that through the little one, so I'm not able to actually show you that on camera. And because this has a lot of texture, I'm going to actually add a little more glue than normal. I'm going to actually do a whole order of glue. A little more than my normal 5 dots that I do. Now we're ready to add the basket, and we're going to use dimensionals for that. So we're going to flip it over, and we're going to just start adding some dimensionals. And we're going to cut some dimensionals off of the edge of the sheet because I love using every single bit of the dimensionals on the sheet. No waste. I cut this teeny tiny piece here to go on the top of the basket. All right, so we're gonna peel off the backings on the dimensionals. We're going to put that on the front of our card. Now, they do have some coordinating embellishments that go with this set. They're really, really cute. Some blue and yellow little dots, and then these adorable little Easter eggs. Sorry about the halo. It's called Easter Assortment, but they are currently on back order. I'm planning to use them for the class if they get back in stock. If not, the backup plan is to use this pack of rainbow dots. And so I'm actually going to use one of the rainbow dots on the basket. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pull the yellow and just put that on the bow. Hopefully you can see that I put it right there. So that is the backup plan. If the other embellishments are not back in stock, then we will be using the rainbow embellishments instead. Always have to be ready and willing to pivot because you just never know what's going to happen with our inventory and what things are going to be popular and what are not going to be popular. So apparently those embellishments were very popular because they have already sold out. So we just have one more thing to do. We have one more thing to stamp, and that is we're going to stamp Hello Spring using our black ink. And I've cut out a banner using my favorite, my Stylish Shapes dies. Love these. If you don't have them, you should get them. So I've already cut it out. And what I love about our photopolymer is that you can cut it out ahead of time and stamp right on it because you can see what you're doing. You can see right through it. We're just going to stamp Hello Spring. And then we're going to add that to the front of the card. And we are going to use some dimensionals, and we're going to come in and cut off of this end to get a couple little skinnier pieces of dimensionals to put on the back side of the banner. I mean, how adorable is this? And then we're just going to add this. And there we have it, the finished card. I hope you enjoyed. Check back with me later. If I am able, I'm going to hop on again later. I'm going to do a quick video and just show all of the cards and the projects that are included in the March Stamp Club. And I'll include information if you did not receive it. If you're on my newsletter list, you should have received it. So check your junk mail if it's not in your inbox. If you're not on my newsletter list and you want to be added, then comment below that you'd like to be added, and I will make sure I send the information over to you. I'm offering it as a local class if you live in Fort Myers. I'm also offering it as a to-go, and we do a Zoom class for it. So we actually work on the projects together in a Zoom call, which is really fun. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you again to Stacia for her inspiration on this card, and we'll see you later. Happy stamping.